Episode 1, and in the beginning. The series opens with a critical moment from Dexter's adult life where he is gravely wounded after being shot by his son Harrison. As Dexter is rushed to the hospital, his life flashes before his eyes, transitioning the narrative to a flashback set in 1991. At this point, Dexter is a recent medical school graduate struggling with his growing dark urges, while his father, Harry, a dedicated police officer, is fully aware of Dexter's violent tendencies and strives to guide him toward a moral path. Dexter's sister, Deborah, is a rebellious high school student who resents Dexter's presence at a college party.
Oh my God, Deb! Why is your brother here?
Our father made her bring me.
Okay.
So, what do I do?
Disappear for 2 hours? Don't talk to me until I need a ride home.
Where he steps in to prevent her from being assaulted by a peer named Andy. This moment highlights Dexter's protective instincts and his internal struggle to control his dark side. Later, during a hunting trip, Harry suffers a heart attack, and while in the hospital, Dexter begins to notice Nurse Mary behaving suspiciously. Dexter suspects she is an angel of death type serial killer, intentionally harming patients, including his father. Dexter investigates further, discovering the truth about Nurse Mary's sinister actions, and in a moment of intense moral conflict, Dexter decides to confront her and kills her, marking his first murder. This pivotal act sets the stage for his future as a vigilante serial killer. The episode culminates with Dexter's first kill, which is symbolically intercut with a volleyball game Deborah is playing in, emphasizing Dexter's dual life and the beginning of his journey as the Bay Harbor Butcher. Episode 2, Kid in a Candy Store, kicks off with Dexter Morgan settling into his role as an intern at the Miami Metro Police Department. He's eager to prove himself, but his colleagues remain indifferent to him, and his attempts to make a good impression are met with apathy. Dexter struggles to connect with the team, and this sense of isolation is reinforced throughout the episode. To help Dexter adjust, Harry instructs him to reach out to Detective Angel Batista for guidance. Batista agrees to take Dexter under his wing, and they spend time together outside of the office. Batista introduces Dexter to the nightlife by taking him to a salsa club where they bond over dancing. Batista also shares his own experiences, including a tragic story about a boy named Rene who was killed by loan shark Tony Ferrer. This story subtly points Dexter in the direction of Ferrer as someone who could be targeted for his vigilante instincts. Meanwhile, the Miami Metro team is busy dealing with a kidnapping case involving Judge Powell's son, Jimmy. This case causes an uptick in department tensions as the clock ticks down to try and find the boy. Dexter becomes disturbed by the crime, but instead of focusing on the kidnapping, he becomes more fixated on Tony Ferrer. Dexter contemplates taking justice into his own hands, but he decides to keep his attention on Ferrer, sensing a potentially dark connection. Throughout the episode, Dexter remains socially awkward and struggles to integrate fully into the team. His observations at crime scenes are dismissed, which only heightens his sense of detachment. Episode 3, Miami Vice picks up with Dexter Morgan still grappling with his vigilante urges. The episode begins with Dexter attending a high-lie game where he tries to get closer to Tony Ferrer, a loan shark he suspects is involved in criminal activity. Mr. Stallworth pretended to be interested in a loan and requested $500, promising to pay back with 10% interest by Friday. Through this interaction, Dexter gathers information on Ferrer's associates, many of whom have been reported missing or found dead, linking Ferrer to a string of suspicious incidents. At the same time, Dexter's sister, Deborah, becomes entangled in a scheme involving a party for her classmates, where she plans to provide cocaine in exchange for their favor. Upon returning home, she and her friend, Sophia, find that Dexter has taken earrings from Nurse Mary, which Deborah had stolen earlier. Dexter confronts her about the theft, and Deborah agrees to return the earrings if Dexter helps her with the cocaine for the party. Dexter assists her while lying about his intentions, claiming he had bought the earrings for their mother. Meanwhile, there are flashbacks to Harry Morgan's time working with informant Laura Moser to infiltrate Hector Estrada's gang. The mission takes a dangerous turn when Laura is captured by Estrada's associate, Santos Jimenez. Although Harry eventually loses her trail, Laura returns, having convinced Estrada's associates of her reliability. As the episode progresses, Dexter's pursuit of Ferrer intensifies. Ferrer confronts Dexter, threatening him for failing to repay the loan and even firing a warning shot that grazes Dexter. Dexter uses this incident to gather forensic evidence that links Ferrer to a series of previous murders. He presents this to his adoptive father, Harry, who is furious and disappointed by Dexter's vigilantism. Harry offers to accompany Dexter on his next mission, but Dexter declines, not wanting to involve Harry further. That night, Dexter abducts Ferrer, brings him to a secluded location, and kills him. He disposes of Ferrer's body in a swamp and discards Nurse Mary's earrings, having been previously forbidden by Harry from keeping trophies. The episode ends with Dexter reflecting on his dark urges and his relationship with Harry, while Detective Maria LaGuerta's arrival at Miami Metro sets up new dynamics within the department. Fender Bender, the 4th episode. Dexter Morgan is deeply affected by the discovery of Jimmy Powell's body, a 10-year-old boy found hanging near a bridge. This case resonates with Dexter, evoking memories of his traumatic past. To cope, he seeks solace in his father, Harry, who advises him to focus on another case involving a body found in Alice Wainwright Park. Dexter's analysis reveals that the victim, Blake Kirsten, was strangled face to face, indicating a personal connection between the killer and the victim. This insight impresses his colleagues, including Maria LaGuerta. Meanwhile, Dexter targets Anthony Mad Dog Moretti, a retired mob hitman suspected of continuing his criminal activities. Dexter's investigation leads him to Mad Dog's yacht club, where he discovers a shredded photograph of a child, suggesting a potential link to the murder of Jimmy Powell. Dexter reconstructs the photo, identifying the child as Omar Reyes, a witness in a RICO case, and concludes that Mad Dog may be planning to eliminate him. Despite Harry's reservations, Dexter proceeds with his plan to confront Mad Dog. In a subplot, Dexter's sister Deborah and her friend Sophia feel marginalized by their volleyball team. To gain favor, Deborah engages in petty criminal behavior, including purchasing cocaine from a Blockbuster employee. She hopes this will help her fit in with her teammates. Later, at a nightclub, Deborah meets a wealthy man named Gio, who invites her to his penthouse, indicating a potential new relationship. In flashbacks, Harry and his associate Wyatt pursue Zinni Hernandez, a close associate of Estrada. They plan to meet with Laura Moser to set up a meeting with Zinni, but she is unable to leave due to childcare issues. Harry volunteers to babysit Dexter and his brother Brian, allowing Laura to attend the meeting. During this time, Harry bonds with Dexter, helping him understand the concept of death when Dexter attempts to revive a lizard that Brian killed. Later, Laura returns, revealing that she has earned Zinni's trust and has been assigned to move more products into Miami. The episode concludes with Dexter confronting Mad Dog at his home. After a brief struggle, Dexter subdues Mad Dog and prepares to execute him. Mad Dog regains consciousness and attacks Dexter, escaping into the street. Dexter pursues him, but before he can act, a car strikes Mad Dog, leaving his fate uncertain. Episode 5, F is for Fuck Up, begins with Dexter in a tense and frantic situation. After his botched attempt to kill Mad Dog, Dexter is left to clean up the crime scene in his home. The situation grows more complicated when 2 police officers arrive to investigate a nearby crime. Dexter, trying to cover his tracks, manages to avoid suspicion and successfully cleans the area before they discover anything. At home, Dexter's father, Harry, reprimands him for his about their sibling bond. Later, Dexter gets involved in a case where he is helping to collect DNA evidence from a driver involved in a hit-and-run accident. He is working on earning the trust of his colleagues, particularly as he tries to prove his worth in his job. As he works on the case, he encounters Tanya, a jockey, who introduces him to atorphine, a powerful horse tranquilizer. Dexter is intrigued by this substance, believing it could help him incapacitate future victims more easily. He begins to look into acquiring some, hoping it will help in his quest to refine his killing methods. However, Dexter's plans take a detour when he is caught hiding in a shed with a horse after being forced to stay out of sight to avoid detection. This delay keeps him from returning home as planned, throwing his focus off even further. Meanwhile, Harry's professional life takes a hit during the trial of Levi Reed. Harry decides to dismiss a possible alibi that could have helped the case. His decision leads to the case being dismissed, and Harry is demoted as a result of his misstep. In a drunken stupor, Harry becomes fixated on confronting Levi Reed personally. He attempts to take matters into his own hands, but Dexter intervenes, realizing that Harry's erratic behavior could lead to further complications. To prevent his father from making a worse mistake, Dexter tranquilizes Harry and takes him out of the situation, showing how prepared he is to deal with potential threats. Dexter reflects on his actions both as a serial killer and as a member of a family. Episode 6, The Joy of Killing, begins with Dexter confronting his complicated existence as a forensic analyst and serial killer. He is still haunted by his need to kill, but he also tries to maintain his outward normal life. The episode opens with Dexter and his father Harry discussing the details of a new crime scene they are investigating. Dexter deduces that the killer is not just choosing random victims, but is experimenting with different methods of killing, which intrigues Dexter and allows him to analyze the psychology of the murderer. Simultaneously, Captain Spencer faces a personal crisis. His son is kidnapped, and Spencer believes the abduction is linked to cartel retribution. This heightens the tension in his life, and his work starts to suffer as he becomes consumed by worry. Spencer's struggles impact his relationship with Dexter, who, despite understanding the weight of the situation, can't help but view the world through his dark lens. Dexter's analytical mind begins to see these events through the lens of his duality, thinking about motivations and emotions as he uncovers more of the complexities surrounding Spencer's life. Meanwhile, Dexter continues to deal with his relationships. He goes on a double date with his sister and their friends. This scene further emphasizes Dexter's social awkwardness and his struggle to keep up appearances of normalcy while battling his darker impulses. The episode ends with Dexter in his transformation, finally embracing his role as a serial killer and setting the stage for future developments in his journey. Episode 7, The Big Bad Body Problem, Dexter Morgan struggles to dispose of his latest victim, Levi Reed. The episode opens with Dexter attempting to transport Reed's body to Alligator Alley, but he is stopped by a police trooper at a crime scene. Dexter uses his connections at Miami Metro to gain access to the scene without drawing suspicion, even though he has a body in his truck. He is later asked to assist with a severed arm, which he identifies as belonging to Tony Ferrer. To cover up the crime, Dexter feeds the arm to an alligator. The following morning, Dexter attempts to dispose of Reed's body at a local garbage dump, but he is reprimanded by Harry for putting himself at risk by bringing the body near a crime scene. At Miami Metro, Dexter reflects on other ways to handle his victims. He encounters Angel, who is still investigating the severed arm, and is convinced it belongs to Ferrer. Dexter manages to persuade Angel to drop the case by suggesting that Ferrer's death brings closure to his victims. In flashbacks, Laura Moser, an informant, grows tired of her role and anticipates release once Hector Estrada is captured. However, she is stopped by Santos Jimenez and taken to Estrada's mansion, where Estrada assigns her to supervise a delivery at the shipyard, believing it will lead to trust between them. After Laura leaves, Estrada orders Santos to follow her. Meanwhile, a captive named Nikki Spencer attempts to escape by crafting a handmade knife. His captor punishes him by severing his finger and sending it to Miami Metro, where Tanya confirms its authenticity. Dexter notices a small blood stain outside the box containing the finger, which leads him to suspect the identity of the captor. Harry and LaGuerta follow a lead involving a black car linked to the kidnappings. Deborah applies for a sports scholarship, but faces conflict with Sophia, who believes Dexter is cheating. After a confrontation with her rival, Deborah is expelled from the team, resulting in the loss of her scholarship. Harry is upset with her, but Deborah decides to leave the house to join Gio. At the lab, Dexter analyzes Spencer, who is losing hope in finding his son. Dexter notices a cut on Nikki's finger and an injury on Spencer's arm, deducing that Spencer might be the captor. Later, Spencer is seen buying the same meal given to Nikki and Jimmy, further implicating him. Throughout the episode, Dexter faces the challenge of hiding his dark activities while managing his personal and professional relationships, all amid the ongoing investigation into the kidnapping. Episode 8 of Dexter's Original Sin, titled Business and Pleasure, opens with Captain Aaron Spencer clandestinely delivering food and water to his kidnapped son, Nicky, whom he has drugged to keep subdued. Meanwhile, Dexter Morgan informs his father, Harry, of his suspicions regarding Spencer's involvement in Nicky's abduction and the murder of Jimmy Powell. Harry dismisses these concerns and assigns Dexter to locate his sister, Deborah, who has gone missing. Deborah has accompanied her boyfriend Gio on a trip to Bimini, unaware of his illicit activities. Her discovery of Gio's involvement in contraband leads to a confrontation, resulting in Gio expelling her from his yacht and leaving her stranded. Having traced Deborah's whereabouts, Dexter arrives in Bimini and rescues her. During their return journey to Miami, a reflective moment occurs when Deborah discards a bracelet gifted by Gio into the ocean, prompting Dexter to realize the sea's potential as a perfect disposal site for evidence, a foreshadowing of his future methods. Concurrently, Harry and Detective Maria LaGuerta travel to Tampa to investigate a potential serial killer. Their investigation leads them to the home of Paul Petrie, only to discover he was murdered weeks prior. While examining Petrie's patient files, Harry is alarmed to find that Brian Mosier, Dexter's estranged older brother, was a patient. This revelation uncovers a connection between Brian and a murdered nurse, suggesting Brian may be eliminating individuals aware of his past. Back in Miami, an anonymous tip leads Miami Metro to raid a cartel stash house believed to be Nicky's holding location. The same house Dexter had previously surveilled, the raid escalates into a violent shootout, resulting in multiple cartel member deaths and the critical injury of Officer Bobby. Nicky is not found, but his jersey is discovered, implicating Spencer further. Dexter realizes Spencer orchestrated the raid to eliminate witnesses, intensifying Dexter's internal conflict about his darkness and the impact of inaction. Interspersed flashbacks reveal the traumatic events leading to Laura Moser's death. Laura, along with her sons Dexter and Brian, is abducted by cartel members led by Hector Estrada and Santos Jimenez. They are taken to a shipping container where Laura is executed, marking a pivotal moment that shapes Dexter's and Brian's dark past. Episode 9. Blood Drive. The narrative intricately weaves past traumas with present challenges, delving deeper into the psyches of its central characters. The episode opens with a harrowing flashback to 1973, where young Dexter and his brother Brian are discovered in a blood-soaked shipping container. The aftermath of their mother Laura's brutal murder. This traumatic event sets the stage for their divergent paths. Dexter is adopted by the Morgan family, while Brian, exhibiting violent tendencies, is sent away. This separation profoundly affects both brothers, with Brian harboring deep resentment and trauma from being torn apart from Dexter. In the present day, Miami Metro organizes a blood drive to support Officer Bobby, who remains in intensive care following a botched SWAT raid. This event serves as a nexus for various character interactions and developments. Deborah, eager to assist, accompanies her father, Harry, to the station, gaining a newfound perspective on the inner workings of Miami Metro. Her experience hints at a burgeoning interest in law enforcement, foreshadowing her future career. Meanwhile, Dexter's suspicions toward Captain Spencer intensify. Assigned to oversee the blood donations, Dexter seizes the opportunity to confront Spencer subtly. Their interaction is charged with underlying tension as Dexter's careful handling of the blood draw needle serves as a metaphorical foreplay to a more confrontation. This scene harkens back to classic moments from the original series where Dexter's veneer of normalcy thinly veils his darker intentions. Complicating matters, Officer Clark Sanders confides in Dexter about a potential HIV exposure, fearing the repercussions on his career. In an uncharacteristic act of empathy, Dexter donates blood on Clark's behalf, showcasing a glimpse of his concealed humanity amidst his internal darkness. This subplot underscores the unexpected moral complexities within Dexter as he navigates his code of ethics. Simultaneously, Harry delves deeper into a series of murders, uncovering a disturbing connection. Brian Moser, Dexter's estranged biological brother, is the perpetrator. This revelation adds a personal and ominous layer to the investigation as Harry grapples with the implications of Brian's return and his potential influence on Dexter. The episode crescendos with Dexter's attempt to subdue Spencer. After a failed initial confrontation, Dexter tracks Spencer to an arcade frequented by Nikki, Spencer's missing son. In a tense altercation, Dexter manages to sedate Spencer and prepares him for interrogation. However, a critical oversight allows Spencer to escape, leading to a high-stakes pursuit that sets the stage for the impending season finale. Episode 10, Code Blues, delves into the complex origins of Dexter and his brother Brian Moser. The narrative begins with Brian recounting his traumatic past to his therapist, revealing a history marked by violent tendencies and institutionalization. This backstory sets the stage for his present-day actions, where he embarks on a vengeful killing spree, targeting those who wronged him during his foster care years. Meanwhile, Dexter is on a mission to rescue Nicky, the kidnapped son of Aaron Spencer. His pursuit leads him to a confrontation with Spencer on a docked ship, where Dexter discovers Nicky trapped in a flooding cell. Prioritizing the child's safety, Dexter saves Nicky and alerts authorities before slipping away. Concurrently, Harry Morgan confronts Brian after recognizing his involvement in a series of murders, including that of Barbara. This encounter forces Harry to grapple with the painful realization of Brian's true nature and his role in the family's fractured history. The episode also highlights Deborah's pivotal decision to forgo her volleyball scholarship in favor of joining the police academy. Inspired by the strong female figures at Miami Metro, this choice signifies her commitment to justice and sets her on a path paralleling her brother's complex journey. In a climactic moment, Dexter confronts and kills Spencer, disposing of his body in the ocean, a method that foreshadows his future as the Bay Harbor Butcher. This act signifies Dexter's acceptance of his dark urges while also establishing a ritual that becomes central to his identity. The episode concludes with the Morgan family sharing a moment of unity, dancing together while Brian watches from a distance, hinting at unresolved tensions and future confrontations. This finale not only ties up key storylines, but also lays the groundwork for the characters' evolving dynamics in subsequent seasons. That's it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. It really helps out the channel and lets me know you want to see more content like this. Also, I'd love to hear your thoughts. So drop a comment down below, whether it's your favorite part of the video, a question, or what you'd like to see next. And of course, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a future upload. We've got plenty more awesome content coming your way. Thanks again for the support, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.